Hey there, it's Teresa here, and welcome to another conversation from my couch. Hi, I'm Teresa Yenkin. I am a digital technology junkie, number one. Number two, love innovation. I love the things that are going on. Number three, I love leadership. I love helping women become the leaders of their own destiny and understanding what's going on in this great, big, wide world that we have here. So, last week, I talked about the new digital assets markets and things that are happening around the web. I mentioned Web 2, I mentioned Web 1, Web 2, and Web 3. So really, what is Web 3? Because that's where we are right now. Now, Web 3 is the next evolution of the World Wide Web. Now, the evolutions are labeled with numbers, right? So the first one is 1, the second one is 2, and the third one, where we are right now, is labeled Web.3. So let's start with a little bit of history because you have to understand kind of how the internet, or the web, as I'm going to call it, has evolved over time. So Web 1.0 was the first iteration of the internet, and it was all about read-only, right? It's the static web. Things were really, really basic. You only use the internet for simple things like reading transactions, like email or going to a specific site. Most of the content on the web at that time was generated and owned by third-party hosting companies. Think about things like Yahoo, AOL. Those companies owned everything that was kind of on the internet at that time. And you couldn't interact with a web page, right? So think about reading a blog, going to the yellow pages. Somebody put some text and others could read it. It was readily accessible. Well, then Web 2.0, and some people say it was around, I don't know, like 2004, 2005. That was the second iteration of the internet, and that was all about interoperability and dynamic interactions on the web. So I'm sure that you've heard about technologies like JavaScript, CSS, and HTML5. Well, that type of technology allowed interaction and interoperability on the web. So people can now read and they can interact using centralized applications. And the purpose was really to connect people dynamically. Now, mobile phone apps helped the growth and the adoption of Web 2.0 go from the speed of a golf cart to the speed of a rocket. Right? Applications, they created value by collecting and using user data to create a really personalized experience. And the user who also use these apps get some intrinsic and extrinsic value from that experience. So like one example of that is you get a notification from your favorite food delivery app about a special that your favorite restaurant is having. And then you're being able to order a meal and have it delivered to your door with a push of a button. Everything happens in that app. Well, the delivery app owns and uses your data to create that value for you. Right now, we're starting to move into Web 3. And this is the digital asset revolution that's happening right now. And it's about being able to control the ownership of the applications using AI on the internet. So this is where any individual can create and own their own applications and conduct transactions using a decentralized application for the use of currency or a token. You're going to hear those words, both used, currencies and tokens. So transactions can be based on the execution of a contract between two parties. That's one use of it, and that's probably the most general use that you're going to hear. And this is when you're going to start to hear words like blockchain being used. So I think the best way to explain it is to give you an example. So let's say a music artist sells a song. Now that song has a permanent record of the verification of its authenticity created by the artist through the issuance of a token. Now that token is held in an artist's online wallet. That's where they hold it in the digital world. Now, the buyer will exchange some sort of currency to obtain the token that's got the song and that accompanying verification that's embedded in that token, and they move it to the buyer's wallet. Now, if that token with the song is moved from one wallet to another wallet, the verification of the authenticity of the song, that's considered an executable event, and that triggers the artist to be paid every time that token moves from person to person. So when you use a decentralized app, the artist can take a song that they've created and that they own, and they can automatically verify the authenticity and automatically be paid when that song token is transferred between other people. So the prevailing technology that most people associate with Web3 right now in that environment is called blockchain. Now, I'll be talking about blockchain later because that is another huge topic to talk about next, and I'll be talking about that next week. So there really is so much more to be explained when it comes to Web3, but you got to start somewhere, right? So let's start here with a little bit of history and understanding the evolution of the internet before we start getting into deep, deep technical discussions or even just trying to understand what is going on in Web3. But be aware and know that it's happening. Now, if you want to know more about what this new iteration of the internet means to your business, I would love to talk to you. So you can book some time with me. My calendar invite is here. And if you find the topic interesting and you want to talk to other people, I'll be in the Phoenix area next week, and I'd love to have you attend my meetup and continue this conversation. And the link is also here. So, as I said, I'm so glad to be here and talking to everybody about all this new technology. I realized as I was building out the course that I have on digital assets that so many people had no beginning knowledge or even understood where to go. So I thought, why not drop some knowledge nuggets here on LinkedIn and help people understand and maybe get some grounding in what is actually happening right now. And for leaders, as the world is starting to turn, maybe be at the forefront of that. And for women, again, this industry and this technology is nascent. We're at the beginning of it. It's a place for us to put our foothold in and to be the founders and the drivers of this new technology. All right, guys, love to be here. And I am so glad that you joined me. I'll catch you here next week on my couch having another conversation about all things tech and leadership. All right, guys, take care, and I'll catch you on the flip side.